All right, so I want to look at the Lewis structure for an ion. So we're going to look at bicarbonate ion, HCO3 minus, and I'm going to use this opportunity to tell you that beginning on Monday, I'm going to start quizzing you on ions and charges again, unless you all can convince me you really know them. You probably don't. So anyway, there's that. Let's take a look at one of the oxygen atoms. So I'm going to call this O3, and we're going to have 2s2, and we're going to have 2p4. And one of these atoms, either the hydrogen or the carbon or the oxygen, is going to receive an outside electron. That's how we get the minus charge. And oxygen is the most electronegative atom, so we're going to give that extra electron to oxygen atom number 3. And I'm going to render this one in pink so that we understand that it is coming from an outside source. So imagine two atoms that collide, that ejects an electron, and it's picked up by one of these oxygen atoms. And so now this oxygen can only make one bond. The other two oxygen atoms, of course, from the ground state O deck, will make 2 bonds. So O2 will make 2 bonds. O1 will make 2 bonds. The carbon atom will make 4 bonds, and the hydrogen atom will make 1 bond. So let's take this information, these are the rules to our puzzle, and let's begin to assemble a structure that makes sense. Hydrogen makes 1 bond, 2 of the oxygens make 2 bonds, 1 of the oxygens makes 1 bond, and the hydrogen makes 1 bond. So HCO3 minus, we've got a carbon atom. I think envisioning a carbon-oxygen double bond makes sense. And of course that oxygen from the O deck will have 2 lone pairs. If this is a mystery to you, then I would encourage you to go back and look at the O deck. And then we have a carbon-oxygen single bond, and this will be our O3, and it has 3 lone pairs. You know you have OCD when your dots aren't the same thickness and it drives you nuts. There we go. And of course, this will be our negatively charged oxygen, because this would have 7 arrows on O deck. 6 minus 7 is -1. And then we have another carbon-oxygen single bond and an oxygen-hydrogen single bond. And this oxygen will have 2 lone pairs. So I have a carbon making 4 bonds, 2 oxygens making 2 bonds, 1 oxygen making 1 bond. The negative charge is on the most electronegative element. I have a minus charge for the ion. This represents the most stable Lewis structure that we can draw. Now, is it the only one that we can draw? Think back to our discussions on resonance. And this is something I'd like for us to discuss in class as we begin looking at the geometries of this molecule.